is that correct?
Hospitality annual meeting, no.
No, I mean for the annual meeting.
No, this is just for whatever.
The use of the
charges.
facility, the
Right.
food, okay, all right. Okay, my line 24 is insurance, so go to insurance, whatever that line is for you.
Okay.
And I see in the insurance, we appear to have overfunded by $7,868.
Let me tell you what that is. We pay in advance, okay? Because we pay in advance, we book it, and every month, we take 1/12 off. So, this was done as of October the 19th. So we still had to book October, November, and December.
Well, that would be a total of $11,000.
So that comes to another almost $9,000 by the time we get to the end of the year.
Well, the end of the year total in column F is $11,132, meaning that we had an overage of $7,868.
Haven't booked the balance. It's every month we take 1/12 of the gross amount.
I understand, but we still have an overage at the end of the year of $7,800.
That's what the budget says.
That's correct.
That's what it says.
So
What do you pay every month?
$2,814.
So 28 times 12?
So he's only got.
That's $30,000.
No, 28.
Something's
Well,
missing.
it looks like what's wrong is that the 10/20 to 12/31, if Jim says that you only pay you pay $2,800 a month, that is supposed to be an estimate for, it looks like about 2 months and 11 days, and it looks like that's only an estimate for 1 month.
It's kind of high for.
Still doesn't work.
Very high for filling
No
that.
matter how you look at it, you got $7,800
Doesn't matter.
overage on that line item that we did
Or
not
else the whole
spend.
line is screwed up.
I think the whole line is screwed up and that needs to be reworked.
What,
What do you-
Because my question would be, Jim, if we had that overage, why are we funding $19,000 again?
Again.
Well,
That would be my question.
all right, I'll go back through
Okay.
and look
Good question.
at what we've actually paid and we'll adjust it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see, 26. 26 was legal. We spent, looks like $13,275 of the $50,000. Did we have any major expenses, or was that just the course of business?
Of course, the business.
Just small nickel and dimes adding up to that kind of money? So we didn't have any issues that really were outstanding? Okay, now, if that was general operating procedure for an entire year, are we not underfunding for the proposed budget for 2015 at 10,000? If we had no issues and went to 13,275?
We're anticipating that there will be a surplus based on what we budgeted and what we collected. It's going to be the difference of the $50,000. And the difference was recommended to go and put into the reserve. And therefore, if you had some extraordinary legal,
So in a reserve legal fund?
yeah, then you wouldn't have to go
Okay, I
out
have
and do
nothing.
something crazy.
That's my line 53, I have nothing in there.
Right, and there's nothing
Right,
on
that's
like,
because we'll know,
can you take a surplus from the regular line item and put it in a reserve in one whole thing?
if you have a surplus, you can develop a line item.
But I thought a reserve is something that's set aside for the total package and it's over a period of time.
Well,
That yearly you contribute to that.
well,
If the cost winds up being $15,000, then you take it $3,000 a year for 5 years. To take a surplus off of a line item and put that total amount in reserve under a legal thing, I don't think you can do
the
that.
board can do it.
No, the counting practices don't do that. Wait a minute.
You know, if you know, fine, if you don't, check on it for us,
Alright.
that's all.
Okay.
On 26, I had another note here. How do we show, because we've talked about this on a number of occasions, the recovered fees that we expend during the year for legal work?
Well, that comes back, and that's part of the, when you see you say, well, gee, we had more money than was budgeted, and we got this surplus over. And that's because of the fees, the interest, the cost, as well as the legal fees that we collect from, we had several liens.
How do we show that on our budget as as income?
You'll see it
The
on,
following year is a line item.
you'll see
Well,
it,
it's recovered this year.
yeah, but you'll see it in here.
Where?
So when we do.
Other income?
No, I'm saying,
In the budget.
it goes into the general ledger. So all the monies that are accounted for, every keystroke that is made, is in the general ledger for every dollar that you receive. So those monies are indicated. You'll see up here that income, which is not what Andy and I were just talking about, whether or not you can estimate based on what you've done over the last 3 years. You know, you need to either pick a period of time, a specific period of time in order to do it. Do you pick the highest years that you got it, or do you pick
You average it.
the lowest years?
But
Or
at
do
the
you
same
take-
time, Jim, when you have a line item on here and you have a surplus, you put it down as a surplus. If you have a negative, you put it down as a negative.
They can
So
do
if-
anything they want with it. They want to put the
Well,
money,
there's-
it's not an issue.
But wait, no, the issue is there are accounting practices. I work for 25 years as a controller of a $13 million company. I am still doing payroll for a group of doctors. I am not a CPA, but I do their monthly statement, I do their income statement, their balance sheet.
I'm not questioning your ability.
No, what I'm saying is, and then I turn it over at the end of the year for an accountant to do our 1099s, our W-2s, our K-1s. There are certain things that you can move around and put in under line items, and there are other things that you can't do that. And either you need to have a CPA look at the budget and tell us what we're doing wrong, or the fact that you're saying the board can make that decision. I'm not questioning whether the board can make that decision. I'm questioning whether the fact that it's the right accounting
It's an
practice.
accounting principle.
Is there a way that we can, on this one document, have some way of showing what legal fees that we recover?
Sure.
So can we do that? So
Yeah, we can
I'd like
also,
to
I
get
can
that.
also print it out for you.
Okay, it's just, it's hard to go from, too many documents.
Yes.
If you could put it on this document, that would be great.
I've already asked her.
Okay, 27. This was removed in 2014, miscellaneous, but it still appears. Do we need to keep this line item on our budget?
I kept it there because I didn't know if you wanted to do anything with it. If you want it out, all you gotta do is tell me it disappears.
Well, that's where you could probably put your sign and make that a community expenditure for like your quarterly signs.
Fill that.
You could put that in something like that line.
I can move
There's a lot
lines
of
down.
things.
He's saying-
I would like to see us have some kind of community activity.
Well, then make that miscellaneous,
Be
and then,
miscellaneous.
No, you can change the word.
Yeah.
Look, you need to be specific. If you want to call it a
Right.
community activity fund, we just take the word miscellaneous out and put it community activity
Yeah.
fund.
Where is Reggie gonna get his funding from for his committee? Like,
Yeah,
this man-
that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about,
Right,
right
Reggie
there.
just became chairman of a committee, that committee needs
That's,
money.
right. So
Greg,
that's what you want.
that's the funding I'm talking about, the Recreation Community Activities Fund.
Okay,
Yes.
so-
There
That's
it is.
exactly it.
Fill that baby up with money.
Yeah.
And
And you
candy.
might be able to put, if you collect more money than you expect, you might be able to put that overage in for the following year into that committee. If you want to make that committee expand and do more next year. You already know what it cost you this year, so you can put that in the budget for next year. And then if you get excess money, it can be applied to that line. And then next year's budget would reflect the original cost plus your extra.
Give me a
as you
number,
expand your program.
give me a number to put in here
Well,
for your community activity.
you know,
fund. I got you.
This is what had we gone over the survey, what I was gonna recommend is that rather than structure the survey as it was, because I don't like the wording of it at all, what I would suggest is with the surplus funding that we have from this year, that would have been a great community question for a survey is, you know, we're considering these items. Where would you like to see us, what would you like to see us fund with that instead of making a decision for them and saying, let's put it in the roof fund?
Well,
Let's put it in a community, you know, let's put it out to the community to say, where would you like us to put this surplus funding? Would it be for picnic tables? Would it be for privatizing the roads? Would it be for gates? You know, all the things that were on there. There's good stuff on there, although we might want to expand it a little bit. But maybe we should pose that to the community rather than make the decision for them. That's just my
well, look,
recommendation.
to be honest with you, anything that has not been funded in the past should be approved. We were talking yesterday about cameras and all this high-tech stuff, and I said, if you want to do that, you need to get out and get the approval of the community because it's going to be some significant items.
Yeah.
Andy came in and he had some numbers for a specific type of a camera. They were $3,600 a piece, I believe is what he told me. And the maintenance on them was $300 a month per camera, okay? And I asked him if they would be sufficient because the IRs don't necessarily, you can't get a tag number unless you got a,
High resolution.
okay? Not just the lens, but you need a strobe, okay? Now, if you're talking about strobes, I went to the Department of Highway, Turnpike, and I asked them how much, because I thought maybe we can get something off, get some help from them with their cameras. And they use several different types of cameras. The ones that they use on the toll booths, they say they, depending upon what, if you're running at 70 miles an
I hate
hour.
to cut you short, Jim, but that's a lot of information.
Okay, well, but the idea is that these things are expensive. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
right, that's the bottom line, and we know that, but, you know, the surplus funding can be used to offset the expenses on a lot of the items that might be important to the community, and that's what I'd like to see the
Well-
survey do, you know, so that we can prepare this.
You guys need to put it
Okay.
together.
Okay, and it's tape, right.
When will this survey be looked at, changed, put together?
Nick.
Well, I think all of you need to put your input.
Yeah, we do need to put our input in there, and we really need to look at the specific wording, because we don't want to gear it towards what we desire. You know, if we desire a yes or no, so we don't want to,
Now,
we want to make
it's
sure
got
it's.
to come from the community. That's what this
Gotcha,
thing is about.
absolutely.
Is this budget going to be adopted before the survey is sent out, received, and
Well, I don't know, I
analyzed?
think we got some deadlines, I don't know.
Yeah, you
We
can't,
we
it's
need
got
to
to
do
go,
some
we
stuff
got to do it.
quickly.
When is the budget?
All right, 31.
What deadline you got? What deadline?
31 is the property management line, and I see that we did not expend all the funding on that. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, because it's not the end of the year.
No.
They're $3,000 short to be.
$3,000, $3,063 will not be expended at the end of the year. And I don't know, did we miss paying you a check, or
No,
what happened?
3,000 comes out times 12 is 36,000, so it's just not, either the figures aren't accurate, but
The
if you
figures
make
can't be accurate.
$3,000 a year and you do it times 12 months,
Okay.
it's 36,000.
Well, that line needs to be corrected and made accurate, because it's showing that we did not pay out $36,750. Okay.
Some of these
Well, then you,
are
yeah.
incorrect, the numbers are.
Yeah, we gotta fix the numbers. Okay, number 32. Now on this one, on 32 is the security line budget. And I did read the text at the back on the last page, and I know we're supplementing that. But here is another argument for the revised budget. I would not want someone to be misled to look at the proposed budget 2015 and see that we're only budgeting $42,186. Well, we're not. We need to actually depict what we are paying for patrol services.
Right.
We probably should call it patrol services and not security. But we need to have that accurately reflect, regardless of where the funding comes from, what we're paying for that service. Okay?
Yes.
33 was the tennis court maintenance. My question there is, we put $1,000 in and we didn't require any maintenance for it at all this year?
I talked to Art about that. We've got the gates, the upper horizontals, are popped out.
Yeah.
They need to be fixed. And I talked to him about that about a week ago. And the guy that actually did these, very reliable, that actually did our courts. We need to get him in here.
I think so too. So I think that line item needs to be revamped for, to show an expenditure of some kind, and once we get a quote.
Well, I don't have it yet.
Okay.
Okay, but
Estimated.
it needs to be, before we can prove it, I think we need to have some kind of expenditure there, because realistically, we're not gonna have $1,000 surplus on that line item.
As I recall, we have water going out there, but we don't have the water running.
We don't have, we have 2 lines out there, one for electricity, one for water, but they were never pulled.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Please.
This is some kind of behavior.
There's a lot of stuff going on here. Okay. Move on.
So what was, I'm sorry, Debbie,
What about
what was
pressure
your
washing?
question?
Is
What's
that
the
I
answer?
was under the
We will
understanding,
pressure washer from the
thought
birds
we
and stuff
had
like that.
water out there, I was wondering why we
For the
didn't
landscaping,
have
we don't
water,
have
if we had
landscaping
water, but I've been told we
Landscaping
do
water?
not have water out there, the lines were.
No, we have sprinklers out
Right,
there, but she's talking
When you
about
say
drinking
water,
water.
for tennis players you're talking about, or for the grounds?
For tennis players.
Okay, so if somebody's playing tennis, do they have access to come into the building, and do we have water in the building?
Absolutely, we have, yeah, there's water here, there's.
Okay.
No,
Okay, so they have access to that, because that would be my main concern for
Well-
tennis.
The building's locked most of the time.
They have, everybody has the code.
Okay, what is the code, Jim?
2230.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
I didn't know.
Just to bring to light here, and just to ensure that this is an accurate line item, 38 total general expenses, we actually over budgeted $84,752 this year. Is that an accurate number?
What line are you on? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I'm on my line 38, yours is probably 37.
No, I'm on the same line as you.
Oh, yeah, okay. So is that an accurate figure?
no.
Okay, well, that needs to be changed. Okay? Moving on to the last page. 43. If you look across, my line 43 is the title of the columns for the reserve account. When I go over to to column F, there is no title. I don't know what those numbers depict.
I think it's total 2014.
It needs to be titled, whatever it is.
Yeah, it needs to be titled.
Okay?
Yeah, it just didn't follow.
Let's see, 46. If we were going to use,
It's a copy of someone else's reserve.
okay, if we were going to use the overage this year to fund some of these items, I would recommend that hurricane cleanup, we haven't had a hurricane in a long time, if I play the odds, we're due. So if I was gonna fund anything, I'd probably fully fund that one, if we had that much excess money. Moving on to 48. Okay, we're overfunded on that one for some reason. We have a 6-year plan to total
On the
$3,000.
re-roof?
Hmm?
You said on the re-roof?
No,
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 hurricane.
on the
That's what I had to say.
irrigation.
I'm on irrigation now. Irrigation
Oh, okay.
replacement. We have a 6-year plan for a total of $3,000, and we're overfunded already, and looking to overfund it even further. And then,
No, we just moved the same line. So,
why wouldn't we keep that at $3,000 and save? If that's adequate,
yeah, then take the 1250 off.
exactly.
Right.
It's overfunded already.
And you might want to put that into the hurricane.
Well, we just need to move it around and do something with it. But, you know, I'm just pointing out some observations here, that's all. 51. Our 51, we had a 15-year plan at 15,000. We're looking to use this is the re-roof, yes. We're looking to supplement that with the overage money. We're not at the point where we actually need a roof, but we're overfunding it to $20,400
That's the actual cost.
of a new tile roof,
of
right?
a new tile roof.
Okay, but we're also showing on the same budget that we're actually gonna expend those funds and reduce our reserves to $1,000, and I don't think we've actually dealt with that in any way.
No, well, that's what you're here to do.
Okay, well,
Have we gotten?
what I'm saying is we haven't
Is it
even
this bad?
decided to be roof now.
We got 2 more years
Minimum.
on this roof.
15.
Warranty.
No, we've already had the roof, we had part of that end taken out and replaced, and above the bar, we've had that taken out and repaired. I believe, I know that this was a leak. I think that leak over there was from the birds.
Okay, but the roof's in good shape now. So we got 2 years left on the warranty. The life of the roof might be 5 years for all we know, right? So, I mean, the life of the roof and the warranty are two different things.
Yeah,
Right?
the life of the roof was 15 years.
Well, the warranty on the roof is 15 years.
No,
It's
the
a
life-
15-year roof.
It's a 15-year roof, yes.
It's warranty for 15 years,
Warranty.
could last 20.
But it could last 20 years. Well, that's my point, right there, is that we have a 15-year warranty roof that is not at end of life at this juncture.
Don't we have a 15-year plan on that?
Well, we have a 15-year funding plan because it's warranted for 15 years. So in the event that we would need to replace it in 15 years, we would be fully funded by our 15-year plan. However, we're not looking to put the same roof on here. So I'm thinking that our 15-year plan is insufficient.
Doesn't work.
We need to revamp our 15-year plan and actually fund that with more money per year to get an adequate roof on here to match our covenants. If that's gonna be our desire.
Then it should be 15,000, it needs to be.
That's exactly, Mark.
20,000, and it should be $1,200 a year or $1,500 for the next 5 years then to get to the 20,000.
That's my point. The 15-year, 15,000 is not sufficient to put a tile roof on here. So we need to revamp on our budget document, our 15-year plan.
Okay, when you do your replacement roof, then you got a 30-year roof. So, you know, you might drop back.
Well,
Right.
when that takes place, if it takes place 15, 17, 20,
have the money.
or 22,000, 22 years, you know, then you make that adjustment when that time
Right,
comes.
but at this juncture,
If you're
if
thinking
we're
about
going
20
to
years,
desire to put a tile roof on this, we know $15,000 is inadequate, and we need to revamp that.
Well, they took the money out of security and up it into the
Yep.
reserve
Yeah.
of
Well, they
that.
didn't do that, but I know it, right, they took the,
Yeah.
We took the
and
overage.
fully funded that, but
Right.
I don't know that
In
that's gonna be
places
the
where we
desire of the
need it.
board. I think what we need to do is, utilize that money for bigger and better things that we know we need, like community event activities, Reggie's new, committee, and any other enhancements that we can do for the community. In other words, I'm looking to recommend that we spend the money that we have on community improvements.
Right.
And let's
That
fund
benefits
those.
everybody.
Let's do those picnic tables and those barbecue grills, or, whatever we can do, maybe have something for the kids here, a playground area, some
beautification.
enhancements, some
Maybe set up some clubs or
Exactly.
something. for
That's the kind of
kids.
thing that I'm looking for, rather than to fund it when we know we don't need it at this point. Exactly.
Keeping in mind to increase it for the future.
Yes, well, we need to revamp the
That's
15
what I
years.
said,
Yeah.
when you talk about what it costs you for the Halloween party, you know you wanna do something more, so the
Bigger,
Halloween
better.
party
Yeah.
costs you
Yeah.
$1,000, then you need to prepare 1,500, that allows you to do another project or another, whatever.
So we're gonna need some numbers, we gotta settle on some numbers, I know there's some more to do. Anyway, you good, we're good on that one? You got my input on that? Where are we now? Yes, the septic tank was number 52, and it looks like, yes, we depleted our entire 20-year reserve plan on that. Am I correct?
Yes,
That is correct, so we go, if we fund $500, well, wait a minute, at the end of this year, we're gonna have 1,000, and we're gonna look to put what is H? H is gonna be another 1,000? Or is H should be 500, right?
Per year, 500,
Yeah.
we put 500 in this year,
Mhm.
and
and
500
we put 500 in for next year,
For the
which will
coming
give us
year.
1,000.
So yeah, look at
Well,
that.
no, if you look at column F, we're gonna have 1,000. Oh, we don't know what F is. I don't know what F is. I'm
Total
sorry.
for 2014 is
We're
4.
gonna have 500 and 500, okay, I'm missing that title, okay. That works. Let's see, 53 on mine is legal, and that was the legal reserve, and we have nothing in it. Do we need to put something in there with some of the overage money from this year?
Why?
Well, we only have 10,000
But it's not
budgeted,
special
Less
assessment.
than
and we spent more than that this year on general business, no issues.
That really shouldn't be in the reserve, a legal fund.
I can't speak to that, you have to speak to that.
Well,
I mean-
we've already decided that we'll see what the legality of it is.
Okay, so my input there would be, if it's legal, the 10,000 I'm a little uncomfortable with. If we spent more than that on general business, it seems like we're underfunded.
Well, don't forget,
You
you
know-
also have the covenants, you've got your documents that are gonna have to be brought up to date. And that's gonna cost some money.
Yeah, so you need more than
What
10,000.
year?
That's why
2015?
I'm gonna
Is that gonna be a 2015 expenditure?
Yeah.
If that's gonna be a 2015 expenditure, then we're grossly underfunded.
So that's why, you know, we've been messing with this for a while, okay, and it not happening, so we're not spending the money. So here we are, we're up against the rubber, knowing it's gotta be done, and I don't have a number, I don't know. You know, I know when we did the documents in 2001, my memory is that it was in the neighborhood of $5,000 or $6,000, and that was in 2001. I don't know what it is, I don't know what it'll be.
Do you really think that the 13,000, and this would be your judgment, that the $13,000 is going to be a normal year of expenses for legal fees? Did we do anything? I'm not saying a lawsuit, but the fact
It's a
that,
typical year.
No, this was a
Is that a
typical,
typical-
right,
was
this is
it
no
that?
issues.
I mean, we had a lot of things thrown to him. Is that what we do on a normal basis? I mean, will we
You
have
mean
to-
the election challenges?
Well, just, yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't know what those bills are. I'm waiting for Jim to give them to me so I can analyze them. But is that a
We need your
regular
guidance
fund
on
of
funding.
13,000?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I don't, you know, I have no idea of knowing what that's gonna be like.
I mean, it could be 10,000 and you'll have $3,000 surplus and then maybe you only need $2,000 in that fund.
I'm just going on history. If 13,000 is a typical year with no issues,
Right.
we're underfunded.
Yeah, we should have at least double that.
See, and the thing of it is,
We don't.
Andy,
we've gotta get our documents, that's a must.
10,000 is too high.
Andy, typically, in
10,000
any
is high.
budget of any community, and there are, you can look them up, I have, typically, the budget for legal fees in any of these places is no more than 2%, usually less. You have a total budget here of about 200 and some odd thousand, so therefore, if you want to apply what you're talking about and apply the 2%, you're going to come up with a budget of about $5,000, and that's where it should be.
Okay, but I hear you, and that's where it should be by maybe industry standards. In this community, if we had no issues, and we used the attorney that frequently, that we had $13,000 plus in expenditure, at 10,000, we're underfunded.
But taking
Yeah, but
into
don't use it.
consideration
Don't
the
use
day
it.
that I went to review the ballots, we were there for 3.5 hours. That person sat with us for 3.5 hours.
No, and I'm aware of all that, but that's kind of the normal business. That can happen again next year, and we'd have the same expense next year. Because the board
Chooses to do
decided
that.
to do it that way. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's a legal expense that maybe nobody agrees with should have happened, but it does happen in this community.
Okay.
And therefore, I'm concerned with being underfunded in our legal account if that's a typical
On the
year.
other, on the other hand, then when you budget it there, they're looking for ways to
Roll
get
it
it.
over to the.
They're looking for ways to get the lawyer to charge you $300.
Well,
Every piece of
I can tell you, Andre, we've had a lot of, I have had a lot of community criticism on $50,000 being budgeted. And you can see, we didn't go anywhere near spending that $50,000 because we tried to curtail it as much as we possibly could.
That was last year, but what the prior years?
Prior years, I can't, I can't
That
say.
was last year.
As a point of interest, Valencia Shores has over a $6 million budget, and their legal fees are $50,000 a year.
Okay, I can't speak to that.
No, but I'm just
I
saying.
know, that's an example.
But they're just maybe a minimum.
Just an observation, those are new communities. Their documents don't need amending as seriously as ours do that are 30 years old. Okay, we're going to have this year some expenses that are unusual expenses. And I agree with Andy that we do need
You do need to
to
have
have
a
some
We
funding.
need to
Yeah,
fund it,
definitely.
you know, whether you agree with, the amount we're
No,
spending or not.
and they also have a lot of legals.
But
They have
Debbie, if the
750.
budget, if he runs up a $20,000 account, what happens? You still gotta pull out $7,000 upfront payment.
You gotta pay it anyhow.
Anyhow, so you could make it 1,000. It doesn't matter what he runs up, that's what you're gonna get paid.
But the money has to come from somewhere. If you pre-budget it,
We need to
And
be
it's
budgeted.
someone else.
Something should be
Okay,
pre-budgeted.
we're good.
We spent $385.
Let's re-examine the necessity. I know we've been on this
we're not
community
supposed to
pressure.
spend money for God's
Let's
sake.
not, don't worry, action on
Yeah.
that fund it, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Let's fund it.
Yeah.
Fund it. We don't want special assessments.
No.
Well, I got you.
Yeah.
I know, I know.
You know? I mean,
That's the
bottom
biggest
line,
rubber.
that's what's gonna happen.
On the other side of this, okay, when we have an election, we have the attorney come to our election. He spends at least 3 hours. He gets $350 an hour. In my opinion, we don't need him. We can get an ombudsman from the ombudsman office, and they do this as a monitor, and they know what they're doing. And I think that in saving $1,000 and not using the attorney for every little thing that there is, because what things do we really have here that would amount to this kind of a fee? What do we have? And I think you need to do an analysis of where we're spending this money. Not just say it's underfunded, but know where it's going. Because I don't think that it's going anywhere to our benefit. It goes to somebody else's benefit, not ours. I'd rather see $5,000 spent and take the other money, as you say, and use it for the purpose of making this community better.
Well,
And not put it in the attorney's pocket.
I can tell you that during the course of the year, we have had much discussion as to what should go to the attorney and what should not go to the attorney. That should be our work. I'm not going to give you the details of that, but I'm going to tell you that we have had those discussions. Once there's a majority vote
Right, you have to go.
for
back.
things to go to the attorney, that's it. We stand together and we say, look, we voted, I expressed my opinion, one way or the other. Debbie, everybody has, we've had these discussions.
Okay.
Some of us say, don't send it to the attorney, some of us say, send it to the attorney, and if the majority says send it, it goes.
And that's what it should be, because you
Yeah.
are there for us.
Well,
We
and
put
we're
you
trying
there
to
and
make the
we
best
trust your
decisions.
judgment. You have to.
That, so if regular course of business for this board, and this board's gonna be here, is 13,000, we need to be concerned about underfunding. It makes no sense to sit here and tell me that that's a typical year, typical expenditure, and make a recommendation to be underfunded. I don't get that,
Okay.
all right?
I have another
You would be
suggestion.
underfunded if you don't have reserves, man. You'd be underfunded.
I have another
You have
suggestion.
You have no
surplus.
reserves.
You have surplus.
I got
So
another
it's not the other
suggestion.
one.
Reduce the attorney's fee from $350 to $250, and then you will have the proper funding. That attorney is the highest paid attorney in the homeowners association.
Yes.
That should be reviewed, and then you may go out and
Yes.
get.
Okay.
I've heard that too.
Look, these are contracts that we have, I think that's valid, and I think we should look at what we have
That's
for
what you-
contracts and evaluate next year.
We're not.
I talked to
Oh,
the
oh.
legal from Valencia Shores, and they said he's the highest paid
Okay,
attorney.
we don't even need to justify that at this point.
Well, they're an agent.
I've now been through,
They're an agent.
yeah, that's what we need to do.
Should make sure we have-
Those are my notes, I hope I didn't put anybody to sleep, but I take the budget document as the most serious part of my job,
All right,
so
so
I've been through
are we
extensive.
gonna make a motion to approve, or
We
Jim
get-
coming back? We
Well,
can't.
No, we're
You
not.
can't,
That needs to be-
you've got to apply.
You have to revise
Come
it.
back to us with the,
I sent out the
You-
revised.
You've got a lot of modifications we talked about here that we.
Then will it be emailed back out to the residents?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. I mean,
Okay.
before it's
So
passed,
it's-
you have to
it-
revise
Has
it.
to be, even when we pass it, it has to go for approval from the committee.
Andy,
No,
you
no.
can't approve the budget because you
No,
have
we want to
items
approve
that
the
you don't
budget,
know
but
what
the
they
committee-
cost, the insurance.
Right.
After we,
No, we're not going to.
after we give
No,
our
you're gonna
input,
get a
you guys get to
He's
do
gonna
whatever you
redo
want.
Jim has a lot of work to do on
copy.
revision to this
Yeah.
And then
document,
you'll
for
go back.
announcing some inaccuracies
Right,
too.
beautiful.
Okay.
Now, is
Is
this
there a motion?
open for other comments, because there are.
Yeah.
1 second. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right.
Now, Tom.
Now, Margaret, you had a couple of cards.
Well, I was part of that discussion, and that's basically.
Anything left?
No, it was all about the budget, because there were things that I wanted to see and be discussed, and they were discussed.
Okay, and there was Dick Lee. Dick
Yeah.
Lee.
Who made the motion?
Dick, you're up.
Dick, you're up? Yeah, you have more stuff?
Okay, on the
Is that
budget,
a return? I don't know, I only know who made the motion.
I want to correct something.
Hey guys, I can't
I
hear.
want to correct something.
One second, Dick, did you want to take a quick recess?
Whatever you want.
Come back? No,
No, it's on the
I just wanna-
Let's let you go home
I
right
just
now.
want stuff to give it to
Two
you.
things immediately.
I want you to
Mark,
know you
Mark.
got everything.
Could you guys just put in there?
Reggie, you leaving?
Go ahead, Dick.
Okay, first of all, on the accounting, the law changed in 2014, and there is no longer a review required for this association because the receivables are now less than $300,000. So the fee that we have in our budget is about $1,000 over where it should be, because there's no necessity to have an outside firm come and do a review. There is no review required.
Oh, is you?
What are we for accounting?
Everybody's leaving.
I'm not leaving. She's reading this paper. She's not here.
I'm trying, I can't follow you, Dick, there's just too much going on.
Too much noise.
There's just too much going on.
Andy, I'll work with you afterwards. Judy has something that she wants to say.
Okay. Judy, please.
Just call me.
Last meeting, I asked people to look into the fact that there are two items in Greenbrier. One is Mike's house that's been unfinished for 10 years.
Yes,
It's a disgrace to the neighborhood,
yes,
and you said that somebody was going to look into that.
yes.
Whether that he's being fined, or why after 10 years, this house is partially finished.
You're exactly right, Judy, and actually Jim and I talked about that being missed on the agenda. And we failed to bring it up, it was not on the agenda, we noticed that before the meeting. Jim, would you bring us up to date on the activity on the house in Greenbrier that we're talking about?
He's working on it. I know at the last meeting, there were comments that he wasn't working on it, but you need to go there to see. He's working inside and outside. He's doing, I know he's got over 15,000 square feet of pavers that he finished in the driveway, he finished completely the back steps. He's brought in material to do the septic system. And it's being worked on. The lot has been cleaned up.
It is a disgrace, and you should put a time limit on it. 10 years is a disgrace that this house has been unfinished.
Can you
My
speak to the
neighborhood.
settlement agreement? We had a
You should have a time limit
settlement
on it.
agreement, and is he in fact in violation of the settlement agreement at this point?
He has the standard that we're told is if it's more than a year, that there's nothing you can do about it. He is working on it, he is doing it. And there are people who say, well, no, he's not doing anything, he hasn't done anything in months. Not true. And all you need to do is go by and look.
That's
Who
ridiculous.
made the motion?
I guess she left.
The meeting was adjourned, so she left.
No, the meeting's adjourned, but we have a public forum.
Yeah, we have a public.
Yeah, where is everybody?
What? I'm losing the board. I'm not in charge here, I'm the vice president. What's going on?
You want to step over and move over to that side?
Do I need to? I don't know.
Who made the motion? On the return of the budget, I
Melanie.
Comment on that,
know.
Andy.
Melanie made the motion?
Hold, I got too much going on. I'm gonna try and take over
But
here,
it's quiet now.
but it is quiet now.
I don't understand it. Jim is saying he's working on his house. His house was started in 2004. And for all these years, he has not worked on his house. Why wasn't something done then? So we say, whatever we say. Now Jim is saying, oh, he's working on his house. But what is the time frame? Is it going to be another 10 years before he completes his house?
Or another-
20 years? How long is it going to be? How long does this community have to put up with that?
It's a valid
Jim, you've got the
question.
history on this. It was my understanding that there was an action brought against this man, and there was some kind of a settlement agreement that he then violated. When I first got on the board, we did seek through the attorney to reactivate and bring suit against him. That never happened because there was activity. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it would have been highly unsuccessful for us to continue with an action once he started the activity. That was my understanding from you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So now I did notice prior to the last meeting an extended period of time of no activity over there, and that's when we decided to collectively say we need to re-examine and bring suit against him. We need to reactivate that. Since that time, there's been an enormous amount of activity that you've explained to me. Am I
It's
right?
there, it's there, you can see it.
All right.
I go by
So,
there every single
We're in a
day.
catch-22, Judy, because the association, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the way I understood it from you, we dropped the ball 10 years ago when we did not enforce the restrictions at that time. Once we lost that, we lost a lot of authority. I can't go back 10 years in time and correct that at this point. We are stuck with that mistake, am I correct?
Pretty much.
Okay, is there a discrepancy or a difference in the preparation of land to the building of a house? I mean, there's been nothing done on the property next to me for over a month.
There's been nothing done.
Maybe 2 months, a month and a half, 2 months.
Nothing.
So does he have a time frame? I mean, we're talking, he's into the 6 months and he's made no progress on his land. I mean, if I wanted to sell my house,
Right.
that's really an
Now,
eyesore.
the grounds chairman is not here tonight, so I have to defer to the property manager. Can you elaborate on
Wasn't
what
that
activities?
his job, to see that these things?
Yes, but he's not here, so I'm saying, I have to defer.
What is the rule and regulation for my neighbor?
Your neighbor, the rules and regulation that he has to keep the property mowed, he wasn't doing that.
What about all the
He's-
boulders and all the roots that he dug up that are in the back of the property? That has never been touched?
The roo-
All the trees that he knocked down, all those big roots are all piled up, probably 6 foot high.
Well, I have to get him out of there. I can't.
I don't know I'm just trying to get a feel for
Can
it.
can you get with the grounds committee
Well, that's the
chairman?
thing, that's the thing.
And get this thing moving.
Walk it through.
We've already threatened and placed in motion the finding committee to get some activity there when I was in charge.
No, and they did, they cleaned it up
Right,
at that point.
and that was
To the
successful.
front, but if you look at
We need
it
to
from the back,
reactivate those kinds of tactics. If he's dropping the ball over there, let's move.
We'll go ahead and approach it again.
take
get
a
it
walk
done.
through there and see
Okay.
what we see from the back.
I don't have the cards.
We can't
I
go.
have nothing here
You come on
to
my property.
call the next
That's all
person.
we could do.
Yes, come on my
I
property.
haven't
You can see.
finished.
I'm
There's
sorry.
one
Judy,
other-
please continue.
Thank you. There's one other issue on our property, excuse me, on
Okay.
Green Drive. There is a house there that for 5 years has not had a garage.
We
One
talked about that.
garage, and they have cars and trucks parked outside. I know that the board on different occasions has penalized certain people if they have a van or this or that and stopping on trees and this,
All
that, and the other.
Can you identify the home for us?
Excuse me?
Can you tell us what home it is?
I didn't bring the address.
It's, I don't
Dr.
know.
Bates.
Jim, do you know it?
We talked about it.
Barbara, we talked about this earlier. It was part of the agenda that they have as of today. They have come forward with plans to build
Oh,
a
that was part of,
garage.
Today?
part of the architecture.
It's on the agenda, it's on the agenda.
What is the time limit from the time they do this? Are they gonna get another 5 years? That's what I'm asking. Isn't there a time limit for them to?
Jim, what is the time? 1 year?
1 year.
Can we stay on top of that and try and enforce that? This time, we don't want to.
Right, we don't wanna keep let things.
No, because then you lose ground on that too,
right.
just like all the others.
All right, so we'll try and stay on top of that, Jim. Get with the architectural committee on that, grounds, keep an eye on it for us. Okay, Andre,
And I think Jim might have to help you with this.
okay?
Is there money in the budget so we could employ a handyman around here for a couple of days a week?
But we have a considerable excess this year, so I'm sure there is some money.
Well, the clubhouse needs cleaning up every once in a while. The community needs cleaning up every once in a while.
Well, we do have a cleaning service that we do pay
Well,
about
that's-
$25 a month for the cleaning of the clubhouse.
Cleaning service and look at out there. Look at this. I am not talking about the
The
clubhouse.
bathrooms.
I'm talking about in general, the streets, papers fly all over the place, just a couple days a week. And you know the person that we work with, or the person that I would recommend.
No, I don't
A
know.
couple days a week here,
Okay,
and that would be a lot of assistance to the gym and, what do you call it, Charles and them. Sometimes people put the garbage out in the streets, or the yard waste.
You can call them.
And, I don't see why we can't have something in the budget for at least a couple days a week
okay.
to keep this place.
Jim, as you go through the
Looking at a
budget,
$1 million
consider
item.
having something like that placed in there as a miscellaneous expense
Well, I
for
think,
periodic extra maintenance due to community cleanup needs?
Well, I would specify more like on a Wednesday after the trucks leave, maybe on a Saturday after the
Or
trucks
Monday.
leave and the stuff is all over the place.
Saturday,
And
the
sometimes
Monday.
Sometimes to maintain a little shrubbery that we planted here
Right.
or whatever.
The board meeting at this point has been adjourned, so I can't call for a motion or anything on it, but it is something that
Can
can
we put
be
on the
considered.
agenda or?
Well, it can be put on the agenda for another month, but, I mean, it is something to consider for the
And
well,
2015.
I would like to hear.
and it's going to be a benefit to everybody in the
I'd like to hear
community.
you finish up.
What?
You have more?
Yeah, because,
I didn't hear what Jim said.
We want to hear you, what else you have to say.
yeah, because what I'm understanding is he's talking about after, say, garbage collection day, and there's stuff all over.
That's a homeowner.
That's a homeowner's responsibility.
But he's saying, and I'm trying to understand, he's talking about cleaning that up. Okay, you cook this, whatever. You're not even handling somebody.
Everybody, I have a real hard time hearing, and I really can't hear Jim at this point.
Take care of that.
All right, good night. Anyone else, Benny, it's your turn.
$25 a
I
month.
had some things.
Your
to
little
say
Jackie,
about
you got one of those
policy.
things you can go buy with a bucket.
I-
I tell you what, the garbage needs to be picked up. I'm always stopping myself to pick this stuff up.
I'll try to.
We cannot afford to spend $67 a week to clean up here, but we have $1 million homes.
It's a common thing that,
Everybody.
you can't say it's your responsibility, it's general.
Eleanor started making cupcakes.
You gotta say,
Yeah, but the homeowners don't. They don't.
yeah,
They have the same old, the same thing all around. You like money, you like my stuff? Yeah? You like my stuff? I think we need. Where's the house?
Good night, everybody.
I don't even know what to say.
See you later.
Stuff here, Mike, Your life and- Yeah, $90.
You know, this was a good 8-inch and yellow screen.
No, you-
That was a good one. That's what it's supposed to be, nice.
Right.
Yeah, educate people, not screaming and yelling. I think the camera.
That was there. Nobody picked the nose too much. Eleanor, what is Eleanor?
That's,
Reimbursement Halloween. So this is out of pocket expenditures that she has.
It's
I'm still waiting for Melanie's and one other person.
All right, that was a lot of work.
And she got something else.
Yes.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Did
thank you.
you?
I know.
that was good, that was great. And you got it, and talk, normally. If you got a problem, you discuss it. The money for the legal, it's okay, what's the difference? If we don't spend, it's still there. It's $350. You know, it's not expensive, I'm sorry. You know, which one did they go to?
That I didn't.
No, this place over here, would be a good place to live. And you don't have to, you don't be nice to one another.
Your grandfather in there.
You know, because you go to someone's house, you have people that.
Well, you and I don't know about this guy.
How much time do you want on
Yeah,
this one?
fine.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do, and that,
I don't think there's any disagreement that we're gonna stop.
but the city, for the drainage, they want to say.
We didn't have some irritants.
For the drainage, you know, for the drainage. What we need to do before the damn thing comes out.
We didn't have.
Yours is one of the houses I'm worried about.
Like,
I'm not nice to
yeah, 3 minutes, it's gone, you know, get out of here.
You know, I call the cops.
We didn't have any.
Nobody didn't stand, I keep saying.
No,
Well, that's a good thing.
You need to be done, you need to be done.
Right.
So hungry.
But you see, he has, when he looks at a piece of paper, he looks at it one way. You look at it, you see something else, somebody else sees something else. My background, well, you know, I'm in the development business.
What would you do that to?
Well, that's why I look at you for doing something. I know there's a lot of stuff here, I don't know.
We need to have it done.
She had a house full of
When
stuff.
you go in, you see, when you're not going, you go on the camera, you see, you're not supposed to look like a freaking jokes. You
I'm close to running, I was sweet.
Power. And
I don't
the
see
engineers, they're not gonna be able to argue. The county is gonna try to do everything they can to avoid paying fines.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're gonna have a little pre-meeting meeting, and we're gonna put this thing together and have a strategy.
Really, like,
A strategy.
Basically, we very hard to give you a price exactly how much it's gonna cost.
But I'm not talking about, what we're doing is, we wanna go down there and we want them to take responsibility and generate enthusiasm for them to take some action on what we perceive as a very dangerous and safety concern for this community. They own the streets. We've been dedicated to that.
But here's the other part.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be sending these people money, we should be sending them suitcases and the whole truck.
Yeah.
wait, to move them here?
Some,
Big world, big world. But you don't go out in the middle of that and that.
you get that.
Well, how do you stop in Africa? You got more animals there than any place in the
Well,
world.
you know, we have a responsibility, fiduciary responsibility. And you know what? If we don't go out there and fight for this safety concern, yes, we'll be liable. But that's why we need to go and do this.
I can tell you what,
We
could barbecue.
We still need to get an engineer to check that out.
Yes, I just think that this,
I think Tony, this,
I can try to coordinate, relate the relationship, and I can have